Tamil Nadu's politics is seeing a familiar story. A film star enters the arena, crowds gather, excitement builds. But this time something feels different. Not because top actor C. Joseph Vijay has entered politics, but because there seems to be a vacuum waiting to be filled. A generation that should have been shaped inside campuses is now finding its political voice elsewhere. And that raises an uncomfortable question. Did we leave that space empty ourselves? Hello, I am D. Suresh Kumar, and you are watching Tamil Nadu elections with the Hindu. This is not entirely about Vijay. This is not even about one election. This is about how Tamil Nadu slowly moved students away from politics and what that might be costing us today. Yes, there is visible enthusiasm among first time voters and youth in favor of Vijay's Tamilaga Vettri Kazhagam in this assembly election. That part is clear. But instead of just asking why they support someone new, it may be more useful to ask why don't they feel represented by existing political spaces. Because for a long time, Tamil Nadu's campuses, once politically vibrant, have been largely silent. And that silence did not happen overnight. Let me take you back to 1967. A 25-year-old student leader, P. Srinivasan, defeated K. Kamaraj, the former chief minister and a political giant. That moment was not random. It was powered by student politics, by the anti-Hindi agitations that began in campuses. Srinivasan himself acknowledged that. He said, but for the students' help, the battle could not have been won. In fact, many leaders we see today, such as TMK General Secretary Durai Murugan, were shaped by student movements. Campuses were not just places to study, they were training grounds for leadership. But today, more than 170 government colleges, 22 state universities, not a single one holds student union elections. An entire generation has grown up without ever voting inside their own campus. The official reason for this is simple: violence, caste clashes, money power. And yes, those problems were real. But here is the contradiction. We still conduct assembly and parliament elections despite violence, money, and identity politics. So, why is democracy acceptable outside but not inside campuses? Over time, something has happened. Colleges became more career focused. Private institutions discouraged activism. Administrators preferred control over representation. And slowly, student politics disappeared. In 2006, the Supreme Court stepped in. It backed the Lingdo Committee recommendations, which clearly said elections must be held regularly on campuses. The spending must be capped at rupees 5,000. Of course, now this amount needs to be raised. Candidates must have no criminal background. There should be no appeals to caste or communal sentiment. And most importantly, it said elections within 6 to 8 weeks of the academic session. It even allowed nominations for student union posts, but only as an interim measure, not as a permanent replacement. The committee basically wanted elections, and yet, nearly 2 decades later, many institutions still have not implemented this. So the system exists, the framework exists, but the political will, that is missing. Here is where it gets interesting. Everyone says don't politicize students. But the truth is, students are already political. We saw that during Jallikattu protests, the anti-NEET protests, national and global issues such as during the civil ethnic war in Sri Lanka. Young people are not apolitical. They are unorganized. And that is the difference. Without elections, there is no structured leadership, no accountability, no negotiation platform. It becomes flash protests instead of sustained politics. This is where everything connects. When institutions fail to create political spaces, people look elsewhere. If campuses don't produce leaders, cinema, social media, and personality driven politics will, because the need does not disappear, it just shifts. This is not about blindly bringing back elections on the campuses. The concerns are real, but solutions already exist. Follow the Lingdo Committee guidance strictly, ensure neutral oversight, ban external political interference, start with phased or hybrid election models, build grievance redress systems. Even the committee suggested gradual transition from nominations to elections. So the question is not whether we can do it, it is whether we want to. Tamil Nadu once built its political future inside its classrooms. Today, those classrooms are silent. And maybe that silence is echoing in the kind of politics we are beginning to see outside in these assembly elections. So instead of being surprised by where young people are going, maybe we should ask, Where did we expect them to come from? And honestly, I hope we don't have to ask this question for too long. Because when students stop participating in democracy, democracy itself becomes weaker. Thank you for watching.